So let's talk about The Last Dance. Okay, the first time you and I sat, then I brought up LeBron James, and you had at one point said LeBron James was a closer, but you said that like 12 years ago or 10. I don't know the exact timeline. You said that even maybe when the book came out, you considered him a closer, not necessarily cleaner, and you have the whole cooler, closer, cleaner, and the cleaner are guys like Michael, all these guys that are cleaners. Okay, great.
He's a cleaner now.
Okay, so here's my question for you. He's got 4 now. He's a Laker now. He's won with Miami. He's won with Cleveland. So he won for the city. He won for 2 Miami. He's over here now. Okay. Do you think The Last Dance is the worst thing that ever happened to the argument of him being the greatest and passing up Michael?
I don't even think so before the last. Listen, I'm going to be subjective on this, obviously, because of my relationship with.
You're not running for office. Don't be too political
with Michael.
here.
No, I'm not. But I'm just saying. All right. I think even before The Last Dance, it just wasn't.
The only reason I say this is because here's why I say this. So I'm 42. I think if you're above 35, there is no argument.
Correct.
Okay, if you're above 40, there's no argument, right? But do you think the 22-year-old guy, the 28-year-old, the 26-year-old, maybe they didn't get a chance to watch the on Saturday morning. Michael's coming up against Chicago. He scores 52 points, 55 points, all this other stuff. You would see the guy's killer instinct. Do you think the 22-year-old, like a generation that missed watching this guy play, said, that guy's a scary guy to face up against? Do you think Last Dance hurt those guys' argument?
Oh, yes. It just, there's so many of the younger. I've had so many people that come up to me and say the footage of MJ on YouTube is enhanced. There's no way anybody can do that. They're like,
Photoshop is getting him to jump higher.
Yes, they're just like, there's no way he can do that. All right. And I've had so many individuals now, they're just like, it's just like, because they didn't get a scene, they're just like, MJ's just a myth and ghost to us. We hear all these stories, and we've heard all these things, and it's just they just can't comprehend it. They just can't comprehend it.
So the debate for you, it wasn't even a debate before, but the debate for you even afterwards, nothing changed for you. But for somebody else, maybe they said, this wasn't my. LeBron's probably watching that thing saying, ooh, they're going to say this, they're going to say that, they're going to say this. That's not good, Mike. Because, LeBron's a legacy guy. He said, I'm chasing the goal. So it's not like he hasn't put it out there.
Right.
When he came out and said it, he's chasing one guy. When he dunked the ball and he's looking at.
Yes, of course.
He's sending a message.
He is sending a message.
I wasn't looking at him. I was just dunking the ball. But you know what he's doing. Yeah. Okay. So who's on your top 5 all time? Do you have a top 5 all time where you go, let's say Michael's the greatest and the second. Do you have that?
I don't have a top 5 of all.
If you were to pick it, who would it be? Who'd be your top 5?
Oh boy,
no one's gonna watch this.
No, I know.
Gonna get like 2 views here, so don't worry about it.
Well, obviously, Michael's gonna be on there. All right. I'd have to put. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. If you look at, depending on the era of the game, if you're just, it could be, it's so different. I mean, if you're looking at the older game, you definitely want Shaq in there. All right. You're just the way he was probably the most dominant player that you just gave him the ball and he just literally ran through everybody. I would take MJ. I would take Kobe. I'd put LeBron. Larry Bird. And who would my big be?
You got Shaq, Kareem, Wilt, maybe Akeem, but he would probably be on
I work with Akeem, so it's kind of difficult for me to keep him off that list. But the way the game is played now is just like, I'd say Shaq.
Shaq.
Yeah.
That's a great list right there.
That's you got. It's hard to leave.
You put Bird in top 5.
Wow. You know why? In this game here, people forget. He's another one. You go watch this. He could do Larry Bird on a game decided, I'm just going to go shoot with the left hand today. Who does that? He's like, you're so bored with the competition that you come out and says,
I'm gonna beat these guys with the left.
I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna play. I don't know if it was the first half or whatever half. He says, I'm just gonna shoot the ball with the left hand. Who does that? Who does that?
He wasn't afraid of anybody.
Nobody, and could do it all.
Yeah,
could do it all. You know, one of the reasons I put, obviously defense isn't a primary thing in this sport anymore. But you know, obviously we know Michael could play unbelievable defense. We know Kobe could play unbelievable defense. LeBron, when he chooses, he could play. He can lock them down. If they do get around anybody, you got this big monster in the middle,
destroy you, scare the hell out of you.
And all those individuals, the one thing they have is the ability to make everybody else around them better.
Mm.
That's the thing. They all have the ability to make everybody around them better.
Dr. J comes out and he talks about it. I'm sure you saw it when he comes on and he says, hey, you know, what do you think about your top five? And he puts his top five. It says first team, second team, first team, Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, which obviously that's his era. I get it. And then he says second team, he would put Magic, Michael, Larry, Malone, Kareem, the second team. So obviously Kobe's not on the list if you had to choose between. I think the way he did it is positions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the way he did it. So he chose Kobe over he chose Michael over Kobe. He chose Magic over Steph Curry. He chose Bird over, say, LeBron James. He chose Malone over Duncan, and he chose Kareem over Shaq, right? And then they asked him, they said, wait a minute, where's LeBron on this list? Mm-hmm. And he said, what were his words? He says, he is the guy who has led the change in terms of super teams. When he put together a team in Miami, he put together a team in Cleveland as well, and he put together a team in LA so he can pick his own team. I ain't going to pick my own team. The guy turns around and says, I'm sure you saw it, he says, well, LeBron's verdict would be, there's been super teams for a long time. Everybody's had super teams. You guys had super teams. There was typically 3 or 4 all-stars on the same team. He says, yes. Last words, yes. But we didn't go recruiting players. He did. So, 1, thoughts on what he says. 2, what do you think about LeBron not being on his top 5?
Well, I mean, obviously the top 5 is what you said. That's his era. These are the people that he knows with. Listen, when you go to war, you're going to go with war. You need to go to war with the makeup of the people that you know that you can trust. Yeah. You know, your allies. Yeah. These are his allies.
Makes sense.
These are his allies.
By the way, it's a great list if you think about it. It's a great list to have. I mean,
listen, you literally got the records Wilt has is unbelievable. You talk about championships, you know, everyone that's the guy. Elgin Baylor was the first person to do all the stuff. The triple-double here. Jerry West.
The logo.
The logo.
Yeah.
Does anything else needs to be said? So that says it. This was an era. These are a lot of these individuals. He competed. You know, he competed. He competed against Dr. J. Competed against. You know, a famous fight with him and
who was holding him out? Was Moses Malone holding him? Somebody was holding Bird by the neck, and Julius punched him 3 times in the face.
So you know, whatever it is, and you know, Michael is obviously, everybody said, you know, he's the heir apparent to Dr. J. So he's had all the respect here. You know, obviously I'm not. He did it by position. All right. If I'm putting this team together, I would if I had to take one person out of here. Well, it depends on if I had to take one person out of my second team.
I have a feeling I know who you're going to take.
I'd take out Karl Malone.
Yeah. Who'd you put him instead of him? Duncan?
I would put, I mean, out of this team, keeping LeBron out of here. If we're going to keep LeBron out of here, all right, I would put Duncan.
Even if you think about this,
I would put Charles before Karl.
I
put Charles before Karl.
Really?
Yeah.
I almost think he went 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, because I don't think he went 2000, 2010, and today, because maybe he's going through era, then he's going through the greatest. I don't know if that's going to be his top 5 list himself. But, you know, again, The Last Dance, when I watched, I was sending you a text. I'm like, Tim, this is insane with the stories that you're hearing about this guy. Left and right, everything that you're hearing.
It's all true. That's the thing.
What makes it crazy. By the way, when they recorded it, did they know When they recorded that season, did they know eventually they're going to do a Last Dance?
So that was the plan. So that was always the plan. But the only person that didn't sign off
Phil or Michael?
was Michael.
Got it.
Everybody else signed off years ago. Michael said, I'm not signing off. He goes, when it's time or when I decide to do this, I will sign off. And originally, it wasn't even supposed to come. It was supposed to come out in the fall.
By the way, I mean, timing-wise, the timing kind of worked in their favor.
Yeah, so they were just like, the last 2 episodes weren't even done when it started. The last 2 episodes were not done.
So when we sat down and we watched the first 2 on a Sunday night,
they had still not finished the last 2 episodes. The last 2 episodes were still not done because they hadn't planned on showing it but then because of the pandemic and everything and so they literally went in and asked, hey, we want to move the production up. So they got in to move the production up, and it was, that was everybody. The one thing I have to say about Michael, and this is why I put him above everybody, whether it is kind of like Tiger also. Whether you were a basketball fan or a golf fan, you were a fan of that. You watch. If you didn't enjoy golf, you would you'd look up the paper to see what Tiger did or where he was playing, what was going on.
Yep.
I had so many people that said, I'm not a basketball fan, but I'm a Michael Jordan fan. So you had those individuals, transcended individuals that had no interest in that.
So if you like this little short clip from an interview I did, click over here to watch the entire interview. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.